Good. Well, if you can hear me okay, drop a little message in the chat. You should see the chat option somewhere along the bottom, I believe. So just give us a thumbs up to make sure you can see us all okay and you can hear us all okay. Um, and yeah, thank you for joining us. So this is our quarterly webinar. I've seen the sign up list. I saw quite a few people who have been on these webinars before. So hopefully you understand the format. But effectively, it's our quarterly roundup of everything that's happening across SEO, paid advertising, AI now, which is a relatively new inclusion, web development, and design. So hopefully it provides a nice sort of holistic roundup of everything that's happening in the industry. I know a lot of people on the list that signed up are marketing managers, marketing directors, leading marketing teams. So right now more than ever, it's very important that we stay on the pulse of what's happening in marketing because in my 15 odd years in the game, I've not seen things change quite as fast as they're changing now. So I'm just going to share my screen very quickly. So hopefully everyone can see that okay. Liam, Helen, Emily, is that okay?
Yeah, all good.
Excellent. So, as I say, a quarterly webinar, we run these every quarter. If you have signed up to this today, you should get email updates moving forward on when we run these in the future. So, before I hand over to the team who will be delivering the quarterly updates, I'm just going to give you a very quick overview on who we are. I appreciate a lot of people in the webinar today will know who we are already, but very quickly, we're the Digital Maze. We're a full service marketing agency based in the Midlands, in Derby, to be precise. We've got around 30 members of staff. So we're not huge, but we're not small either. And we've been going for the best part of 15 years now. We specialize across three core areas. So web development, search engine optimization, and paid advertising. Client base, we've worked with lots of clients over the years. I've put a few on the screen today. Paw Patrol, SpongeBob, on the fun side, but also e-commerce, home and garden's a big industry for us as well. And that's us in a nutshell. So I will not continue to bore you guys with more about us, and I'll hand over to the team. What we're going to cover today is PPC, design development, SEO, and AI. So we've got Emlyn, Helen, and Liam joining me. And then at the end, for probably the last sort of 15, 20 minutes, there'll be an opportunity for anybody on the webinar today to ask our experts any questions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Emlyn.
Okay, hopefully you can all see that okay. Um, so I'm going to be covering what's new in paid media. So that includes Google Ads, Microsoft Ads, Meta Ads, and LinkedIn Ads. And after that, I'll be looking at the new developments in the ChatGPT ads. So ChatGPT started rolling out ads in America in January. So I've got the latest sort of info on that. So to begin with, some Google Ads updates. So just to recap on AI Max for Search, which we covered last time, it's a new campaign setting inside paid search that enables a suite of AI features. Things like keywordless matching. So Google will serve ads outside of your keyword list. So it'll go beyond what you've added into it, a bit like broad match. It also includes asset optimization. So Google will automatically generate additional headlines based on your URL, so the content of your website. And it'll expand your final URL, so it'll send users to other relevant and sometimes irrelevant pages on your site. So that can be good, but it can be annoying as well because it can find like blog articles to promote or about us pages or any kind of page on your site. So just bear that in mind. Just bear in mind that you need to check the placements and where it's actually heading. It's all kind of like a mix of broad match and responsive search ads, but kind of on steroids. So you just have to keep in mind that it can promote any page on your site. It can show up for a wider range of search terms and um, display a wider range of headlines as well. So just keep that in mind and keep checking all your stats and metrics and what is actually displaying. So the latest changes in AI Max for search. So it's now moving out of beta in September, and they're upgrading some of their older campaign types. So dynamic search ads is being upgraded to AI Max for search soon. So dynamic search ads is kind of an older version of it where it will crawl your site and promote different landing pages and rotate different headlines and descriptions. So AI Max is kind of a more advanced version of that. So that's why they're um, moving the SAs to AI Max. According to Google Ads, search campaigns with AI Max see an average of 7% more conversions or conversion value. And when using the full feature suite, that's the results you can expect. Although I have seen some clients do well with it and some that do not. I think we'll cover that a bit later. And then a new feature is AI Max for shopping. So similar to AI Max for search, there's text customization, final URL expansion, and optimal format selection. So what this will do is it will go beyond the shopping feed. So it will add ads to the paid search network as well. So as you can see in the bottom right, the screenshot not only will show up in the paid shopping listings, but also the paid search. So in a way, it's kind of like a halfway in between AI Max, sorry, halfway between standard shopping and performance max. So you won't show up on display, YouTube, etc., but you will show up on the product listing ads and paid search. So in my opinion, I feel like this is a way for Google to get advertisers to opt into the AI Max format and the AI features without going completely into Performance Max. And if I could predict that this will be a stopgap, and eventually, sort of standard shopping will be sunset in favor of Performance Max, and this is a way to get people onto it by only going sort of halfway there. So you still upload your merge incentive feed, but Google will show up for paid search by using the product titles, etc. So the new AI Max editions, following from what I previously mentioned, is AI brief and text disclaimers. So within AI Max, you'll be able to add a prompt and to tell AI exactly what the ad should or shouldn't say. So you can say like always show up for this brand and always promote this brand and never include like your own brand or never show up for this style of search terms because it's not relevant. And this is kind of the way Google's going in more recent months. So instead of adding all your keywords, all your headlines yourself, it's writing prompts and asking Google Ads exactly where it should display and shouldn't display. So it's a way of Google increasing automation, but giving you more sort of boundaries to tell it where to go and where not to go. So I think this is where Google Ads is heading. You still have your paid search where you add your keywords, and that's still very high performing, but this is kind of where it's going. So there's new asset experiments within Performance Max. So you can add, one group of assets and then another group of assets and A/B test them. So you might do like a 10% off sale on one list of assets, and then on another list you might just do some generic sort of product information. And you can A/B test them, see which one has higher click-through rate and conversion rate and ROAS and all other metrics. So it's not like you can do an A/B test of a particular image versus another image, or you swap one headline for another headline, but you can do it on a full group of them. So it's giving you a little bit more control and to test. what works. But it's more like a theme, like what particular theme works better than a different one, rather than anything sort of granular, what exact wording on a headline will work versus another one. So it's more generic than that. But yeah, another bit of control that Google's giving back with Performance Max. Another really interesting one that I'm looking forward to is AI-powered dashboards. So you can this is a beta again, so you can reach out to Google Rep to activate, but there's going to be dashboards within Google Ads that is AI powered. So you just question it with a prompt powered by Gemini. So things like which products are generating the most amount of revenue, or which responsive search ad has the highest conversion rate, or like in this example, it's where is my audience engaging and converting, and then it's giving you info on which device, like mobile, tablet, computer. Um, is it being displayed on YouTube or search? So, presumably when it does roll out completely, you can ask it many different things and it'll be clearer and faster. Because previously you could do all this with the report editor, but it can be quite clunky and slow. So this should be a way to make it better, and it's part of Google's continuous AI development. So moving on to Microsoft Ads. So Microsoft Ads is rolling out AI Max for search, so it'll be an open pilot during May. And as you know, anything that Google Ads pilots and launches, Microsoft Ads is a few months later behind. So there's also a new import center, which should make it easier to import Google Ads campaigns and Meta ads, etc. So it's sort of overhauling the area where you import campaigns to make it quicker and better and more customizable, so you can select what you want to import and what not to import in a nicer way. There's also cross-account portfolio bidding. So if you have multiple accounts for the same brand, you might want to do a portfolio bidding strategy across multiple accounts, which I wouldn't personally use, but it might come in handy if you have a particular brand that's stretched across multiple accounts. You might want to do one campaign bidding strategy for all of them. There's also custom column metrics coming as well. So what you can do with Google is you can make your own with formulas. So one example is I will do the spend divided by the amount of days in the report, so you can work out an average daily spend of the time period. So things like that are very useful with custom columns, so you can have metrics that aren't currently covered in the accounts. So on to paid social. So Meta ads, first of all, there isn't as much updates on the paid social side this quarter. I think in general, Meta and LinkedIn are a lot slower to develop new products than Google Ads are, but some of them include Advantage Plus targeting is now mandatory. So Advantage Plus is kind of the AI features on Meta ads and giving Meta more control, and obviously with the iOS changes, it's harder to select specific audiences. So Advantage Plus targeting is now mandatory, so you can't opt out of audience expansion, which is quite a big change. The conversion threshold for Advantage Plus shopping campaigns have dropped from 50 to 25. So yeah, more chances for smaller advertisers to opt in. And lookalike audiences are being phased out. And again, in favor of Advantage Plus, which is the big meta setting that it's pushing constantly. So again, similar to Google, it's less control from advertisers, more control for Meta. And you could look at that and say that Meta benefits from being in control. It can spend more of your money, but on the flip side, it does work quite well. And then very little from LinkedIn at the moment, but they seem to be focusing on live events. So there's more ad formats, such as the events one. So that's kind of an example of one. And it'll be quite useful to see, for our webinar if we can do this. But it's a new ad format, so you can see it in the bottom right. So you can do different ads for when it's leading up to the event. You can kind of hurry people up to sign up. But if you can combine the new events ad type with the lead objective, you can ask LinkedIn to maximize the amount of signups you get. So yeah, it'd be quite interesting to test that next quarter for our webinar, because we do LinkedIn ads for this, which is where a lot of you will have signed up with. They also are including new event metrics, so things like total watch time, average watch time, cost per 2 minute view, etc. So yeah, anyone that does live events and webinars, etc., will benefit from all this. So the latest with ChatGPT ads. So just to recap, earlier in January, OpenAI confirmed that they are running ads within ChatGPT for free versions and Go plans in the US. So it's since been expanded to Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So ads sit beneath the response, not mixed into it. So it's not sort of interrupting the answers that it's giving you. There's no timeline for the UK rollout as of yet, but a lot of people expect it to be the later half of this year. So it's recently added product feeds into ChatGPT. So with Google and Meta, you upload all of your product information, and in this case, ChatGPT then takes it and automatically creates ads using the product titles and images and attributes. So instead of putting in each product manually, this is sort of the next best thing. And there's also a ChatGPT Ads Manager before, so I think it was quite black box before, and it was very hard to see from the UK anyway, because we can't test it. It's very hard to see how to actually set it up. But now there's an Ads Manager, and you can see on the top right you've got campaign, ad groups, and ads, similar to Google Ads. It says the status. So in this case, it's not serving. This is just a screenshot from OpenAI. And then in the bottom right, it's very, very sort of limited in what you can do. So you add a headline and a description, and then an image, and then that's kind of it. You ask OpenAI to take it from there. The results are not. There isn't anywhere that's sort of saying if it's working or not. You kind of just there's just a lot of anecdotal evidence, like some people saying that the cost per conversion is similar to Google Ads, other people saying that it's expensive. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's sort of a more consolidated reporting coming out in the next few months. But yeah, looking forward to trialing it when it does roll out in the UK. So yeah, that was me. If you have any questions, add them to the chat, and I'll cover them at the end. But yeah, I think I'm moving on to Liam now, so I'll let Liam take it from here.
Brill, thanks, Emlyn. And like Emlyn said, if you've got any questions, put them in the box and we'll try and get to them at the end. So I am Liam, the technical director at the Digital Maze, and I've been doing this for over 15 years now. Today, I'm going to walk you through AI and web. Pretty much all of the web-related updates over the past 6 months have all been related to AI. So I'm just going to walk you through what's new there, a couple of new features in terms of what's new in the world of e-commerce, and then something that's going to be launching towards the end of this year that you probably all need to be aware of. So, starting with what's gone on in the world of OpenAI and ChatGPT since I last did one of these, which I think was in February. So this year things have changed slightly in terms of the models previously just did an update probably every 4, 5, maybe 6 months, whereas now they are all rolling out a lot quicker. So since Feb, ChatGPT have gone from version 5.2 to 5.3 to 5.4, and now they're on 5.5. So they've all kind of figured out a way of iterating and improving their models a lot quicker than what they did previously. Another thing that ChatGPT have done is they used to kind of try and do everything with AI. So they had their own video model called Sora, with the likes of Anthropic and Claude taking up a lot more market share. They decided to just ditch that and stop putting money and effort into it and focus on almost copying what Anthropic were doing. So they released something called Codex, which is primarily for development, but also you can use it for workspace and co-work related tasks. So they launched that a couple of months ago. And they redid their image generation tool. So before, ChatGPT and Gemini both did image generation. When they released this, it was a lot better than the Nano Banana Pro model that Gemini had. So that was pretty good. And then moving on to the world of Claude or Anthropic. So they did a lot of releases probably from November to Feb. Since then, they've just released something called Opus 4.7, which again, just like all of them, it's a lot better. The reasoning is improved. This one is a little bit slower, but they released their fast model Sonnet probably over the next month or so. They released something called Claude Design, which isn't image generation. It uses code to create design things. So you can do slides on it, you can do prototypes, and pretty much anything in between. The good thing about this is you can feed it your brand, your colors, your fonts, and it creates a little design system for you. And once it's done that, you can kind of just give it a task, whether it's making a slide deck or a report or a PDF, and it will generate it. And whilst it's in its early stages, it is pretty good in terms of the output that it produces, and I think it'll only get better. The other one that they announced a couple of weeks ago was Claude for small business. There's nothing really new in this. It's just that they've packaged it up to kind of target people who don't understand the world of connectors and MCP servers. So they just created a little package called this, and out the box, it gives you a lot of the tools that you need to do day-to-day tasks and look at automations and things like that. And on that subject, they also released something pretty cool called routines, which is essentially scheduled tasks and routines. So if there's something you do every day, multiple times a day, you can set that up in Claude and let it run, whether it's, just gathering news updates or generating a report or sourcing data from multiple places and just consolidating it for you is pretty useful. And then in the world of Google and Gemini, they had a big kind of announcement event on Tuesday this week. So all of this is quite new. The main thing with their release is they decided to change all of the names for their previous products. So it's a little bit confusing in terms of understanding what's what. The big update was their model improvement. So they went from Gemini 3.1 to 3.5. I don't know why they skipped everything else, but they just jumped up like that. Their claims for 3.5 is it's a combination of it's really quick and it's really good. Whereas with the likes of ChatGPT and Claude, they tend to have different models. One is really quick, and then one is more thinking that takes a little bit longer to do. They've renamed their multimedia kind of model. It was called Nano Banana Pro. It's now called Omni. It still does videos, images. I did a few tests with the videos and it was pretty good. I was quite impressed. But it's still, obviously, you can tell it is AI generated. And with Gemini, they've also caught up with Claude and ChatGPT in terms of creating personal agents. So again, all those routines and tasks that you can set up in the background. The benefit that Google has and the angle they're taking is you can do some of this in Workspace if you've got Google Workspace, but it seems to be more targeted around Android users, so more personal users. So it's kind of ingrained in phones if you've got Android. And a couple of months ago, they did a deal with Apple as well, so that all of the AI in Apple devices will use Gemini. So that'll probably roll out to Apple users in the future. And then they will have pretty much all of the market for those kind of automations. And the other one they released was Workspace Live and the Android integration I've just mentioned. So you can, if you want to, speak to your inbox now and say, can you find me this? Can you summarize this for me? Same with Google Docs. And I also think they launched it on YouTube as well. So they turned YouTube into being more of a search engine. So if you want to fix something, you can just speak to YouTube and say, I want to fix my dishwasher, and it will try and give you step-by-step videos that will help you fix the problem. So moving on to the world of e-commerce. So I'll always keep up to date with what's going on in the world of Shopify and WooCommerce, who are the two biggest providers of e-commerce frameworks in the world of Shopify. And a lot of this applies to WooCommerce as well. All of their focus has been on AI, and I know I'm talking a lot about AI today, but that's what everything is. Everybody's doing. They released a nice little tool called SimGym, so you can preview your changes in Shopify before you publish, and it will simulate an audience in terms of where that audience will look on the page and what will catch their eye, and how that update might affect your store. Their kind of inbuilt co-pilot is called Sidekick. Before that was closed off just to Shopify, whereas now they've allowed you to connect other tools to it. So if you use third-party tools, they can now integrate with Sidekick. And they have worked on an integration for something called UCP, which is something I'm going to talk about in a minute. So moving on to WooCommerce, their big focus previously was all about performance. So WooCommerce was always considered slower than Shopify. So everything they've been doing over the past 6 months or so has all been about performance. Now they're kind of at the end of that cycle. They're again just pivoting about what they can do with the world of AI. And whereas Shopify has got their own kind of sidekick and their own AI to talk to, WooCommerce have released a connector. So if you use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, you can connect your AI agent into your store and ask it questions, pull down data. I think for WooCommerce at the minute, it's mainly around product updates and order updates, but still useful if you want to use your agent to find out how the week's going or what's your best sellers and things like that. WordPress 7 is being released in the next month, so there's some upcoming features for that. The main thing around WordPress 7 is more collaboration. So if anyone uses WordPress across a team, you'll know how annoying it is when you need to edit a post and you can't because somebody else is editing it. Whereas now they've introduced more Google Docs style features with that, so you can both collaborate on the same page or post or product at the same time. And they are also integrating or getting ready for the integration of UCP, which is a new protocol that Google have been almost pioneering. And there will be and are lots of acronyms that are being bounded about at the minute. But ultimately, in a nutshell, this is essentially like an API connection from AI agents directly to the back end of your store. At the minute, if you are using, say, ChatGPT and you want to do some online browsing, it will go and fetch the web content a little bit like what the Google crawler will do. Or you can use their like agent modes, which are really slow, where it'll go and actually browse the website itself. Whereas this is a direct connection from AI into your shop. So it knows a lot more information about your products for when people are asking about them. But also, it will handle the entire transaction if the user wants to do it that way. So I could be shopping for a new pair of trainers through ChatGPT. It will recommend me three that I like. I will click the ones that I want to purchase, and that whole transaction will happen in that instance. It will happen in ChatGPT. But the API connection will push the order straight through to the merchant store. They become the merchant of record still. It's just the interface that the user will use is going to be the AI agent as opposed to clicking a link from ChatGPT and going to the website. So this is potentially quite a big change. It's currently in beta. They announced it around Jan, Feb this year. And it is being tested and rolled out in the US first, and then it will come to the UK. I think it will probably be here towards the end of this year. But the big question really is, the technology will be there, but it's a case of how long until like the general population trust AI enough to use it, especially with like their card details and transacting. But it's definitely something you should all be aware of if you have an online store or even if you just use AI agents, because it's a nice little useful feature that's coming later this year. And I think that is about it for me. Obviously, any questions, pop them in the chat, and I will hand over to Helen, who's going to share her screen now and walk you through the world of SEO.
Thank you, Liam. With me. I hope everyone can see that okay. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about the latest developments in the world of SEO and AEO as well. Talking about some updates from Google and the actions that you might need to take, as well as some other industry updates as well. So firstly, a big one in recent weeks is that Google has released a new guide for AI search that basically categorizes answer engine optimization or generative engine optimization as part of standard SEO. So basically confirming that visibility in Google's AI search, AI overviews depends on the same kind of ranking tactics and quality systems that are used in traditional organic search. Obviously, this is just pertaining to Google. Other AI engines will have their own models, but the documentation does state that there's no real requirement to build a separate strategy for AI. Basically, the sort of good practices for SEO and technical requirements for your website still apply. So surfacing information from the current index using retrieval augmented generation is the primary method for these features. So basically that means that a site which ranks well in standard results is already pretty well positioned for AI visibility. So basically just focus on creating high quality verified content, focus on EEAT signals, and work with your development team to ensure that the technical quality of your website is as high as it possibly can be. The second part of their update and their guide dismissed several popular and speculative AI tactics. So basically Google saying these aren't necessary for visibility in Google's AI features. So things like LLMS.txt, chunking content don't provide any additional benefit when it comes to AI search. Also things like advised against using inauthentic mentions, adding schema that doesn't match the content that's visible on the page, and focusing on original content that offers unique perspectives, what you can really add to the conversation information gain. So potential future search experiences might include things like agents that handle tasks booking through directly through a website based on this. So providing clear and factual information is obviously just the most effective way to prepare for these interactions. So basically that means you can avoid wasting resources on these speculative AI tactics and just focus on the quality signals that matter to Google.
Helen, do you mind closing the Zoom pop-up at the bottom of the screen just so people can see your slides fully? Thank you, that's perfect.
It keeps popping up, sorry. I can't see my slides now, sorry. There we go. Okay. Is that okay? So
yes,
another
perfect.
Thank you. Sorry. The recent update in March 2026 was a big one that shifted significant search visibility away from aggregators and UGC platforms. So this is a good thing for first-party brand sites and original content sources. So that's moving away from platforms such as YouTube and Reddit, which were historically dominating search results, and it's Google's move towards kind of counteracting that. Whilst some of these changes have been temporary, the broader trend has moved towards the companies that actually sell products rather than people who are just writing about them. So for sectors like travel and finance, hotel chains and primary lenders benefited from the update, whilst sort of online travel agents and comparison websites lost ground. So yeah, if you're owning the product or service being searched for, then this kind of benefited you. So what that means is that you have a stronger chance of outranking the big third-party platforms for high-intent queries, and so kind of do a bit of an audit to see what's happened in your vertical. So looking at, are the brand domains still appearing, and where can you and if not, then where can you backfill that. Search Console now. So there was a logging error in Search Console. You may have seen in your own data that there has been a drop in impressions suddenly in April. Over the last 11 months or so, there's been elevated impression counts, and Google has now fixed this bug, but that's obviously meant a drop in reported data for a lot of Search Console accounts. It was basically that automated search events were being recorded as human impressions, so the data didn't actually reflect reality. As well, you may have seen, slightly worryingly for some, no doubt, messages sent to site owners basically saying that your site has suddenly started reporting. That was just a glitch, and Google's obviously resolved the issue, so there's nothing to worry about there, but it did cause a bit of confusion among site owners. The best thing to do is obviously your year-on-year data will be skewed because of this, but you can add annotations in internal reports. If you right-click on the chart, just add an annotation for April that the impression drops are due to the data fix. Moving on to GA4 now. Google's introduced a default channel grouping in GA4 called AI Assistant. So this isolates traffic that's coming from generative search tools. So it automatically classifies your visits from platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and so on. So you can now track how much traffic these models are sending to your website and how those users are behaving compared to your other channels. It relies on the medium channel group and campaign definitions within the platform. But it does remove the need for complex configurations and trying to generate the reports yourself. You can just look at your acquisition report now to see this data. So yeah, as of now, start looking at your acquisition reports and track those that AI Assistant channel. And you will see that in your default channel group reporting. Google's also outlined its crawling standards for 2026. So it's an explanation of how the crawling process now works. It focuses a lot on how search engines have handled the increase in AI and the noise from AI as well. It really highlighted crawl priority. So Google will now only crawl the first 2 meg of each of the HTML for each web page. So if your HTML file is larger than that, it'll get cut off. So I'm basically making sure that all the important stuff on your pages is within that first 2 meg of the file. PDF files, it's larger, so it's 64 meg. But it does show that Google's being a bit more selective about the content it's crawling and indexing, and is moving away from crawling low-value pages and every available page on a domain. So basically, this means that if you've got a lot of low-value pages on your website, you're wasting your core budget basically, and you should identify those low value pages and pages that don't provide any additional value to your visitors, and kind of remove them as well. Just focus on your key pages and make sure that they're delivering high value and that is reflected in the first 2 meg of your HTML files. Gemini has also launched some personalization in the UK, so a suite of personalization tools in Gemini. So it now remembers user preferences and past interactions. It's got a memory function where you can explicitly tell it to remember facts about your interests or professional requirements or whatever. So that obviously creates a bit more of an individualized experience that will evolve over time as you use it more. You can view, edit, and delete anything the AI has learned about you, but it's leading to Gemini wanting to offer a more personalized search and a move away from generic one-size-fits-all answers. So this means obviously search results and summaries will vary a lot between individual users based on their preferences that they've set. So what that means for you is that you should create a diverse range of helpful content that appeals to different user personas, different stages of your funnel, to ensure the visibility across those varied stages of personalization. Google's also removed FAQ rich results from search officially as of 7th of May. So there's been a kind of 3-year phase out in the run up to this, and where the FAQ structured data does not kind of lead to any search features, FAQ search features in the search results. The only ones that most industries had already been excluded from this, apart from government and health organisations, but now they've been retired as well. So you don't really need to do anything if you've got structured data attached to your FAQs. It's fine. It's not going to do any harm, but you won't see any rich results, FAQ and how-to rich results in the search results anymore. You also won't see any reporting in Search Console from June. So you potentially can. So what this means is basically you could potentially be losing a bit of visual real estate in the search results, and possibly a bit of a decline in click-through rate. But yeah, in terms of what you actually need to do, if you're tracking FAQs, you don't really need to do that anymore, and it's still fine to include that kind of content on your pages and the structured data, but just don't focus on the reporting for it. Google's also cracked down on back button hijacking. So this is where websites manipulate the back button, so they can't. So users can't return to search results either by forcing them to stay on a page, redirecting them elsewhere, basically just creating a bad experience, a confusing user experience. So this is a new spam policy that Google's introduced, and violations can lead to manual actions, which you'll see in Search Console, or you maybe even be filtered out of search results altogether. So it's part of a broader effort to remove low quality content from the index. So if you're using any kind of UX scripts that interfere with browser navigation, you could end up losing search visibility completely, seeing manual actions in your Search Console. And what you should do to mitigate that is, obviously, if you're using any of these scripts, remove them. Make sure that no third-party plugins might be interfering with the browser functionality, the browser button history, or the back button functionality on your website as well. In a bit of sad news, Ask Jeeves has now been retired after 30 years. It's shut down its operations altogether and disappeared on 1st of May this year. Its parent company is, obviously usage has declined over the years, and so the parent company has now decided to focus on other business areas. If you go to Ask Jeeves now, you'll get a farewell message. It was obviously a pioneer in search, in natural language search. So it's a bit of an end of an era for a lot of internet users. If you're tracking anything to do with Ask Jeeves, you're not going to see that anymore. You don't really need to do anything. It's just a bit of sad news that I think will bit of nostalgia for a lot of people. In terms of looking at search strategy now, moving away from, I mean, this has kind of been bandied about for a while now, but strategy is shifting ever more towards search everywhere optimization rather than search engine optimization. So building your brand presence across platforms such as TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, social media. Users are searching on a whole host of different platforms these days, and also these platforms are turning up in the search results as well, often cited by LLMs and AI search as well. So to win, essentially, to be visible in modern search, you need to build your brand across a lot of platforms that your visitors, that your users are on. So creating content for wherever your audiences are searching, rather than just focusing on, say, Google or AI optimization, focusing on social media as well. A lot of competitors, your competitors in search will be these social platforms. Obviously, the Google update did affect their appearance in search, but it's a question of kind of user behavior as well. So what you need to do is just kind of look at your content strategy and where you can create native content for platforms such as YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, and so on to capture brand visibility outside of your main website. Kind of linked to the above, recognition is the big goal for search professionals in 2026. So AI summaries are increasingly prominent in the search engine results. So what you're really aiming for is to be cited as a trusted source rather than aiming for position one, as has always been kind of the historical focus. It's moved towards ensuring that your brand is recognized by AI models as the definitive answer for its category, for the searches, for the question being asked. So you need to look at your brand signals, your semantic relevance across different platforms, and potentially looking at how you report to your stakeholders as well. So moving reporting towards including things like brand mentions, citation shares, and prompt visibility. But it's making reporting less predictable, rankings less predictable, and obviously the personalization comes into play as well there. As I've mentioned, using Reddit and user-generated content is key now. It's all about building an authentic presence. Obviously, Reddit's a big platform for users asking questions about a whole host of topics, a whole host of services, a whole host of products. So if your brand is present on platforms such as Reddit, answering those questions, it's all good visibility for you, because that's not something that an AI engine can just do. Having that brand presence shows authenticity, community engagement, and positions you as a credible source for that information. So it's that this kind of content is often seen as trustworthy by users and also by AI systems. So again, looking at your content strategy and creating that first-party data and those expert-led articles that provide unique value beyond your basic information, having a presence on Reddit, answering those questions. In terms of content generation, this is not really kind of anything new. It's just been kind of confirmed that Google is deprioritizing thin content. So content quality will always beat quantity. So publishing high volumes of content is not a reliable way to grow search visibility anymore, and actually might dilute your authority in the long term. Obviously, with Google's new crawl guidance, you could be wasting crawl budget as well. So visibility will now be driven by pages that offer unique perspectives or address genuinely unaddressed or previously unaddressed needs. So creating a higher volume of a smaller number of high impact pages, that satisfy that search intent. So again, it comes back to kind of reviewing your content calendar, your content strategy, and making sure that you're prioritizing quality and originality rather than numbers, trying to hit numbers. Just a recent event, Brighton SEO, happened in April and featured a whole range of presentations. A lot of them focused on the intersection of AI search and SEO. SEO FOMO has compiled the available decks for download for anyone who couldn't attend. So there's a link there to go and download them. These are obviously from industry experts, so they represent the kind of current consensus on effective strategies for navigating all of these updates that are going on. It's a very busy time for SEOs. There's a lot of changes. So yeah, it's always worth taking a look at these presentations. And that's it from me. I think I will stop sharing now. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you all. Got to ask everyone to turn their cameras on because we're going to take a few questions at this stage. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Before we jump into questions, I just wanted to flick this up very quickly. There's just some tools that we've added to our website very recently that you might find useful. I'm not going to go through them one by one. When we circulate this pack, it's very much worth going to the URLs which are located here in each of the tiles. I think you'll find them very useful, particularly if you're in a marketing position. So we've got SERP snippet previews, human market generator, Lorem generators, UTM builders, percentage calculators, keyword combiners, etc. We're looking at building this out more as well. So just tools might be useful, free of charge. I know some places on the internet charge for this stuff, so we've just made our own free versions using AI, of course. And hopefully you guys find them useful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some questions from the FAQ box, sorry, the Q&A box at the bottom. I'm just going to pick at random. Okay, what have we got then? Can we quickly discuss bidding strategies for Google PPC? I'm currently still using manual CPC as I want to control on keyword bids. Is manual CPC dead? Should I move to max conversions for Mr. Dennis, I'm going to guess?
Yeah, it depends on how many conversions you get in the campaign. If it's a decent amount, then I would definitely suggest maximize conversions, because it's going to be using signals which you won't be able to have access to, like things like demographics and keyword ages, locations, so where they're based. So yeah, it typically outperforms manual cost per click, 9 times out of 10.
Excellent. And I guess this is for Liam. In the AI era, is WordPress still relevant? Should one still learn WordPress?
Yes, still very relevant. Powers, I think last time I checked, 60% of the internet. AI just kind of makes it easier to learn, understand, and use WordPress, in my view. So definitely still worth looking at. Also, Shopify wouldn't not learn Shopify if you wanted to do that, if your requirements meet that. But yeah, definitely still keep on with WordPresses and CMSs. They still have a place for all of this stuff, really.
I'm going to guess this one is for Helen. Can you suggest a good source to learn more about a Reddit strategy and how a brand should use it to increase its presence in order to build trust?
Sorry, could you repeat the first part of that question?
Yes, good source to learn more about a Reddit strategy.
Good skill, sorry.
Good source.
Good source, sorry. I'm not entirely sure what would be the best one. I can certainly have a look. There's plenty of guidance out there. Places like Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal are increasingly covering this kind of thing as well, for more kind of specialized Reddit strategies. I can find that out. What would be the best one?
No problem. I've got another SEO related one. Does applying schema markup help with organic rankings?
It's more that it makes your website easier for search engines to understand. So it can make it easier for search engines to kind of crawl and process your content, which in turn can lead to higher rankings, to better visibility. One key benefit of structured data schema is that it can give you rich results, which obviously gives you more real estate in the search engine results. So things like videos, review ratings, previously FAQs, but no longer, site links, that kind of thing. So if you have structured data that's well applied throughout your site to mark up the different elements, your chances, it's not a guarantee obviously, but your chances of being more visible in the search engine results are increased basically.
Thank you. Youth development, we have membership options, access to key info and guidance. We're really struggling to create leads. So leads for a youth development outfit. Emlyn, would you recommend a Google Ads campaign?
Yes and no. So it depends on your budget. I'd say if you don't have at least £800, even £1,000 to put towards it per month, then it's probably not ideal. You could test it for £400 or £500 a month, but then you won't get enough data to actually learn from to optimize things. So it's likely it won't get off the ground or provide an ROI. So yeah, depending on how small you are really, and if you have the budget to spend, it can be really high performing, but you need a significant investment, and it also takes maybe 2 to 3 months to see a return on your investment. So yeah, if you can have that budget if you can put aside enough budget for like 3 months at least to do it, then go for it.
Got you. I'm going to take a couple more questions. Should we be directly and explicitly answering questions on our pages to help with SEO as we move away from FAQs? Or is long form slightly more prose based? Okay. Should we be answering questions on pages, Helen, to help with SEO?
I still think that this is a good strategy. And obviously it depends on the content. Long form content obviously does have its place, but FAQs are still really good for product pages, service pages, even on blog posts. It gives you an opportunity to get sort of additional related keywords in, and AI engines do kind of like that kind of shorter form content that directly answers a question. So there is definitely still benefit to having FAQs on your site on relevant pages. I mean, you don't need to have them on every page, but certainly where appropriate, I think it's definitely beneficial to have them, even though you don't get the benefits within the search results anymore. But that was never really the main benefit of having FAQs anyway.
Great stuff. One last question. So for Alex Kirby, we are a B2B business who distribute cleaning and janitorial products. We use PMax and Bing for transactional sales. Effectively, it looks like you are wanting more sales. You're looking for a dedicated supplier rather than one-off. So you're looking at trialing either Meta or LinkedIn, presumably on the paid side. So, Emlyn, any sort of thoughts on how well Meta or LinkedIn would work for a B2B business, particularly for sort of maybe retainer-based products and things like that?
Yeah, definitely LinkedIn, because you can target office managers or facilities managers. You can find their actual job titles and target them specifically. So decent budget with that. You got to kind of think of how to introduce a lead magnet to scoop them up. But yeah, and if you need any help, feel free to ask us. Email us. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to make that the last question. Thank you, everybody who has joined us today and everyone who stayed on throughout the Q&A as well. Thank you to our speakers. There's definitely a lot of questions in here that we haven't answered yet that we probably could. So feel free to reach out to us on What's the best email? Probably sales@thedigitalmaze.com. That'll come straight through to me or one of my colleagues. But we will be following up with some emails with some resources that are linked to this presentation as well. We run these quarterly, so do look out for more invitations landing in your inbox. Thank you again, and I look forward to presenting next quarter.